Did you know that if you're unmarried over the age of 26, you are not a spinster? That term was reserved for women aged 23 to 26. My dear, if you're single over the age of 26, you are a thornback. That's right, a thornback! The name dates back to 17th century New England, and we need to bring it back. Thornbacks, we ride at dawn.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll hear the story of a woman who walked away from an 11-year marriage and 4 kids, saying that throughout all that time, she was so committed that she ended up losing herself. We'll also meet another woman who, after 3 divorces, claims that men always change after making a commitment. I want you to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on our way to 150,000 subscribers, and with your support, we're going to crush that goal. Share your experience or opinion about these cases in the comments. And without further introduction, let's get started.
When was the moment you knew your marriage was over? For me, there were lots of moments, things I didn't recognize until later, that should have been the moment. Here's the first one that should have been the moment, now that I've been through all of this. We'd been married for about a year and a couple months. I was finishing up my degree to become a teacher. He was not going to school and he was not working. Should have been my first sign. And that we had just found out, I'd taken a pregnancy test, that I was newly pregnant. We were excited, didn't know what was happening, like all the feelings. Well, 2 days later, I started bleeding and what ended up being a miscarriage. I ended up staying home from school that day. Just a lot of emotions. I remember crying a lot and not feeling great and bleeding a lot. And I remember not having the supplies I needed to handle a miscarriage. And I had asked my then husband if he would go to the store for me and go buy me some pads. And he looked at me and he was like, I can't do that. That makes me very uncomfortable. I was like, what? We are adults. I am your wife. I just had a miscarriage and I'm asking for some help. Please? And he said no again. And he made a reference to a time back in high school when he promised himself and some friends that he would never be that guy to buy those things. And in that moment, I remember being like, But it was a flash, right? I went and I put a hat on, I put a jacket on, and I left without saying anything to him. Eyes swollen from crying, not feeling great, to go buy the supplies I'd asked him for help with. That was the moment that should have been the moment. But I lasted 11 more years, 4 kids.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
She really expects us to feel sorry for a decision she consciously made. From the very beginning, the guy was a jobless loser, and yet she stayed with him, supported him, and most likely even provided for him. Then comes this so-called revelation after the miscarriage, which she clearly ignored because she stayed with the guy for another 11 years and had 4 kids. At what point did she realize it was over? After the 4th child? Let's be honest. No woman has 4 kids with a man she doesn't like. She was there because she wanted to be. Nobody forced her. So now you can't come around playing the victim and blaming it all on the man. You made your decisions and stayed where you wanted to be. Responsibility, as always, is kryptonite for women, because no story can change the fact that you chose to stay for 11 years.
Do you want to know when it's really time to just walk away from your marriage? When is enough enough? If you're new here, hi, my name is Jackie. I'm 33 and I went through a divorce at 27, and I'm here just to be your divorce bestie and help you through this tough time. So when is enough enough? I actually get this question quite often. How did I know that it was over? Typically, the question kind of starts like this. We used to have an amazing relationship, and then something happened. Either somebody cheated or lied, or you just grew apart and you're not quite sure how to recover from the situation. Maybe you're stuck in the roommate phase and there's zero intimacy. Maybe you both are just burnt out. Maybe it just feels stale. But the question is always the same. How do you know when to call it quits and just stop doing what you're doing and move on? I'm going to help you right now. If you're married to someone who treats you like trash, is physically or verbally abusive, tells you that you're stupid, tells you that you can't do anything without them, or says maybe you're too emotional, or maybe you're the problem, or you're stagnant and you're not getting anywhere in life, one of the biggest things that you should be listening for is when you approach this partner with your concerns, how do they react? Do they turn it around and flip it on you and point the blame at you when you're genuinely just trying to communicate? How do they react when you're telling them you want this marriage to work? You guys need to work together to make it work. When you ask them and tell them that you would like to try to make some improvements in your relationship for the both of you, for your kids, for whoever, and they look at you and point blank say, no, it's you. You're the problem. You're the reason why things need to change. You're it. That is going to be your biggest sign that it is time for you to go. And it's okay. It's okay because you tried. You did your best to make it work. And you had all intentions of trying to fix the situation for it to be better for you and your spouse and your kids. But if they're not willing to do the work with you, then my friend, it is time for you to walk away and put that effort into yourself. Have the best day, okay? I believe in you.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no.
When you hear this kind of speech from a woman who was only married for 3 years and ended up leaving her husband, you already know how the story goes. She always paints herself as the one who gave it all, the one who tried to fix everything, and the man is just the one who didn't want to change. But the truth is, when a man disconnects from the relationship, it's because he's been enduring and adapting for a long time, and there comes a point when there's just nothing left to save. Most of the time, men adapt. If she's cold, controlling, moody, or uncooperative, he puts up with it. But when he feels like he keeps giving and gets nothing in return, not even a gesture, not a single act of service, he starts to shut down. And it's exactly when he begins to disconnect that she finally reacts. But by then, it's too late. Because when a man gets tired in silence, he also walks away in silence. And there's no coming back from that.
As someone that has been married and divorced 3 times, I'm going to let you know right now that the switch up is absolutely real. You are not imagining things, okay? There are a few breaking points, if you will, where men will switch up in a relationship. And I'm going to give you a list of them. Number 1, when you become exclusive. That period of time when you cut off all of your other prospects, the men that you are dating or entertaining, and no, I'm not talking about sex for you men in the back. I'm talking about getting to know people, and now you decide that you're going to be exclusive with this one person. It is not uncommon for them to then switch up. Once where they were trying their hardest, they're spending time with you, they're bringing flowers and stuff. Now he's got you and he doesn't have to worry about that. So that's a very common point that they will switch up. Next one is when you move in or if you move location. So like cross the country to be with a man. Now you're in his house. Now you are isolated from your friends and from your family or from your roommates. And sometimes if an abuser is going to start abusing you, it could happen at that point. The next one, a lot of us know all too well, and that's when you become pregnant. Sometimes it takes you to become pregnant for you to see the real side of somebody come out. Now he sees you as damaged goods and he can do whatever he wants to you because in his mind, nobody else is going to want you in this condition. Now he can drop the mask and he thinks that you can't get away or get anywhere. The next one is marriage. Now he's got you locked down, sis. You got his last name. You're legally bound to him. He thinks he's in control. Mix that legal paperwork with that Christianity mindset of, I'm the leader of the family, you must do what I say, and all those traditional roles, and that switch up can be real severe. Another point where that mask can fall off is if it's not when you're pregnant, when you actually have that child. Now all of a sudden he's not coming home and he's not, participating in the everyday rigors of raising that child, changing any diapers. He's left you to do it all, sis. He went from once a very helpful man to now you're feeling like a single mom in your own relationship or in your own marriage. And lastly, if you lose your income, this can also coincide with, having a baby or becoming pregnant. Now his mask is dropped and he's turned controlling because he thinks that you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything for yourself, and you have to ask him for money. Stay vigilant, ladies, and be prepared to leave at any point of time that they switch up on you.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
And I'd heard that the third time's the charm. But this woman just can't seem to get it right. Sounds like the only thing she's good at is running away. To me, everything she describes could be resolved if she stopped idealizing and actually tried to understand what her partner truly wants, instead of assuming or sugarcoating reality. If the guy tells you he doesn't want kids, don't have them. If he wants something casual, don't turn it into a relationship in your head. If he clearly states he's Christian and very conservative, don't expect him to change overnight. But it seems like everything goes in one ear and out the other with this woman, because she'd rather believe in the story she made up for herself. She talks about communication, but only listens to the parts that suit her. Then she's surprised when she ends up with men who were honest from the start, but never fit into the fantasy she imagined. And that's how she ends up collecting divorce after divorce.
Women.
Cheaters hang out with cheaters and liars hang out with liars, okay? So if your partner's friends all cheat on their significant others or exhibit sketchy behaviors that you're not okay with, just know that your partner does the same thing when you're not around, right? Like, you don't magically have the one great guy out of a group of dogs. It just doesn't work like that. And what you allow around you, you allow within you. So if your partner is okay with being friends with people who exhibit morally corrupt behavior, they probably allow that within themselves too, right? And an argument that I hate when people say, if you ask about this, like, oh, that's your friend, are you okay with them like doing that to their partner or cheating or being sketchy? And their response is, well, that's none of my business. If my friends who I look to for advice, for judgment, for support, if they exhibit morally corrupt behavior and do things like cheat on their significant other, if that's none of my business as their friend, then what is my business, right? And so be very careful about being with people who allow that type of behavior around them, because if they allow it around them and they don't think it's a problem if their friends do it, just know that in the same way that they kind of cover it up for their friends cover it up for them too.
I completely agree with this woman. You are a reflection of the 50% of the people you surround yourself with, and that applies to relationships too. That's why, as a man, you've got to pay attention to the details. If the woman has party girlfriends, red flag. If she's always off on girls' trips or loves going out every weekend without you, red flag. That never fails. And here's something a lot of people ignore. Look at her family. If the mom is alone, the sisters are divorced, the aunts are single, brother, they're showing you the future. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That kind of influence, no matter how much they deny it, always ends up affecting your relationship. And when problems come up, it's those same friends or that same family who stir up the chaos instead of helping. That's why I'm 100% with her when she says cheaters surround themselves with cheaters. Keep that in mind when you choose who you're going to be with.
The main reason why I don't want to be married anymore is because the way that I've been able to make my 17-year marriage work all of these years is by compromising myself, compromising what I think, compromising about what I value, compromise what I want, compromise the type of relationship that I want to have. Everything has been a compromise, but the compromise has been on my part, me adjusting, changing, doing things differently to please my partner or to make the family as a whole work. And I just know that it's just not the right thing to do anymore. But on the other hand, it's really scary thinking that I'm going to be 52 years old out there living by myself with my kids, trying to make it in this economy. I don't have an education. I never went to school. I didn't have a career or anything like that. There was no plan B. This was always the plan, be married, stay married, raise a family, and just stay together and make it work to the end. I'm taking a huge risk, and sometimes I question whether it's the right thing to do. But I know the reason why I'm questioning is because I'm so used to compromising myself. I'm so used to putting myself last. I'm so used to just making myself disappear so I can be in these roles, wife, mother, whatever, and somehow hopefully make other people happy, and that'll be my life. But that's not the right way to live. I want to find a different way of living. And I have a lot of regret that I've waited so long and I'm doing it now at 52. I don't have youth. I don't have, all of the optimism. I don't have years and years in front of me. I don't really even have the time to kind of wait on it or waste. I mean, I don't have a ton of time. I mean, if I don't do it now, when will I ever do it? When will I ever be comfortable in my own skin? When will I ever feel proud and happy and like myself? When will I ever be in a situation like that again? Unless I go out there and try to take it for myself. It's pretty scary, but I have a feeling that it's going to be worth it. I think it's going to be worth it.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
She's 52 and now she wants to accomplish something in life. The best project she had, her 17-year marriage, she sabotaged herself. She couldn't take the time in all those years to read a book, learn a skill, or look for a part-time job. Honestly, this just sounds like she's blaming her ex-husband for her own laziness. If someone really wants to grow, they do it, with or without a partner. There are people who, instead of using their free time wisely, waste it watching TV or scrolling through TikTok. Then, when they realize they haven't gotten anywhere, they blame the relationship. The truth is, many people prefer the comfort of someone else's hard work rather than earning their own. And in the end, as always, responsibility is nowhere to be found. Because, like I said, responsibility is kryptonite for women. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about the woman who left her 11-year marriage? What red flag did you ignore from your ex-wife when you got married? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.